Hello there everybody and welcome back to Movie Squirm. Today I'm going to be reviewing another documentary, and that is Hollywood Dreams and Nightmares, the Robert Englund story. And this is directed by Chris Griffiths and Gary Smart. This documentary captures the life of actor Robert Englund, most famous for playing Freddy Krueger in the Elm Street films. Now Robert Englund is one of, if not the main reason, that I am in love with the horror genre. Elm Street 2 and 3 were two of the first horror movies that I ever watched, and I have never looked back since. And he has terrified me, he's made me laugh, but most of all, he has entertained me for a number of years now. And when I found out this documentary was coming, and it was the team behind the most recent documentary, which I absolutely loved, I was definitely going to be checking this out. And like that documentary, this all feels very well structured. It's a little bit different. It's not focusing on a singular movie, although we do mention a lot of movies in this documentary. But this is more of an autobiography on screen, from Robert's early life to his early career to the high point, which is obviously the Elm Street series, all the way, to what he's doing now. And it does really feel like you're going on a journey through Robert's life. So it's all very well put together. I have seen documentaries that are a little bit scattered in places and don't feel very well constructed, but that is certainly not the case here. And with all good documentaries, we have a great bunch of people getting interviewed here. Robert Englund himself, of course, made an appearance. I'm very thankful for that, Robert. Thank you for coming along. We also have Eli Roth, Heather Langenkamp, Lance Henriksen, Bill Moseley. So there's lots of people here to tell all these very interesting mini stories about Robert and how they interacted with him on sets and stuff. It was all very, very interesting. And what I noticed too is how enamoured people seem to be when working with or around Robert. Young directors seem to be very nervous until Robert had a little word in their ear with them. And there's also young cast members who are just taking hints off this veteran actor, and their confidence was boosted. And there's even veteran actors just had a lot of great things to say about him. Now I know this is a Robert Englund documentary, so they are gonna say good things. But what I noticed is the mutual things that people were saying, they all seem to go hand in hand. So it couldn't have been a coincidence. And everyone just seems to love the guy. And it really helps when Robert Englund himself is a guy you could just listen to talk all day. This documentary was 2 hours long. I honestly could have watched it for another 2 hours, because Robert has just got one of them voices that really pulls you in. He's a great storyteller, and when he is telling these little mini stories about his career and stuff, it was very, very easy for my imagination to just picture everything that he was saying. He's just a guy who's lived a very interesting life, and when someone has led a very interesting life and they talk with such a great, unique voice, you can't help but listen now. And it's crazy to me hearing him talk about some of the roles he went in for. There's a real big one, which I'm not going to spoil here, but if you watch the documentary, you'll notice straight away which one I'm talking about. But there's also some links to other movies, even just small links, that he had a hand in making, that movies that just became so popular. One, especially in the horror genre. So it just amazes me how Hollywood works, how people know each other, and how movies are made. And it just made me really want to get into the movie industry. I wish it was something I really done after school. And when I watch documentaries like this, it just makes me want that even more. Now, of course, Robert is best known for playing Freddy Krueger. A lot of people may come to this documentary just for that. But I gotta say, there's a lot of great build up towards that. The way you know it's coming, you're anticipating the Freddy parts, but everything before that, which is a good hour, I think, about 45 minutes, keeps you invested anyway. So the fact that you know it's coming is an exciting build up. And when we get to the 80s part of Robert Englund's career, there is a massive chunk here dedicated to the Elm Street franchise. So if you're an Elm Street fan, you're going to come away very satisfied with what you hear about the Elm Street franchise. Now, you have got to keep in mind that this is a Robert Englund documentary, not an Elm Street documentary. So there's plenty of pre and post Elm Street stuff. And like I said, you do get a good chunk of the Elm Street stuff here. But just know that going in, don't expect this to all be Freddy Krueger related. Now, if you do want a great Nightmare on Elm Street documentary, I highly recommend Never Sleep Again, The Elm Street Legacy. It's 4 hours long, going through all of the movies, but you can still be highly satisfied with this one. However, me personally, after already watching that documentary, I still enjoyed the Elm Street stuff here, But I think I enjoyed the pre and post Elm Street stuff just a little bit more because I'd never really heard of all these stories when he's going through movies like Eaten Alive and Galaxy of Terror, films I've seen, and him doing all the details and talking about all the details of how that came together. I was just so fascinated by it. However, what I will say is there is still stuff sprinkled in there about Freddy and Elm Street after the big high point of Robert's career with the first 6 Freddy films, because we do go on to talk about New Nightmare in the mid-90s and Freddy vs. Jason in the early 2000s and the impact Freddy has had on Robert's life. So that is all sprinkled along after we have the big chunk of the Elm Street stuff. So it is still in there for the most part. However, I was really excited hearing Robert talk about movies like Urban Legend and even movies that I haven't seen yet. I've been putting on my watch list like The Last Showing, because Robert just talks so enthusiastically about these films and it just made me want to watch them even more. Now, I've got to say, I've watched 3 documentaries by these guys who did this being one of them. Pennywise, the Story of It, and the RoboDoc documentary, which was an absolute 10 out of 10. Absolutely blew me away. That RoboCop is my favourite movie of all time, and that was just something I didn't know I needed, but now I don't think I could live my life knowing that I hadn't watched it, if that makes sense. So I will be on the lookout for everything these guys make now. I'm really excited to see if they're going to do another documentary in the pipeline. Whatever it is, I'm sure I'll be watching because these guys know how to put a documentary together. I think they switch between directing and producing. I'm not 200% sure on that, but the outcome is always great when all of these crew members are involved, from what I've seen. I'm just going to go ahead and rate this documentary now. I'm going to give Hollywood Dreams and Nightmares, the Robert Englund story, a 9 out of 10. Now, there aren't really any negatives here, but I walked out of the RoboDoc documentary with this special feeling, like something I'd seen, an absolute masterpiece, put it that way. I didn't quite get that feeling here, but I was never bored during this documentary. I was always entertained. I was always interested. There was nothing really missing, but I just couldn't put it on par with the RoboDoc. Maybe that's a personal thing because it's my favourite movie ever, of course, but this was still a brilliant documentary. And if you're an Elm Street fan, check it out 100%. But even if you just like interested in how movies are made or going through a wonderful actor's career, it's still worth a go. Okay guys, I hope you all enjoyed this documentary review. Have you seen this? What are your thoughts on it? And if you could recommend any horror movie documentaries, please let me know down below in the comments and I'll get back to you all, I promise. Thanks so much. Please give this video a like and subscribe if horror is your sort of thing. And if you want more documentary reviews, they'll be in the description down below. Thanks so much guys. You take care and I'll see you on the next video.